what's going on, guys? This is Mies and welcome to my top 10 best decks of the March 2021 ban list. So what are the best decks actually? Is this like a tier 0 format or a triangular format or something really cancer like this? I don't think so, but I'm still going to show you guys what my top 10 best decks are. So before we start, friendly reminder to like and subscribe because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these, and yet let's jump right into it. Alright, so for the number 10 spot, I actually have Dragon Maid. I think this deck is really good. It's proven to be really insane in the OCG because it kept getting like top 5 every single OCG metagame breakdown. It was ridiculously consistent at getting a lot of representation in Top Cut, and that just pretty much pinpoints the fact that if we actually get a nerfed version of that metagame down in the TCG with like no VFD and stuff like that, maybe Dragon Maid is going to shine even more. And the cards actually play, I mean, it's a dragon deck, and we all know how dragon cards are ridiculously good. Hieratic Seal is arguably one of the best link monsters in the entire game right now, hands down. I mean, a card that compulses without targeting is just really scary, and on top of that, it's not just a compulse, it's also a special summon from your deck. Like, imagine an LP that can interrupt your opponent as well. That's just really sick, and all you need is 2 dragons. So Dragon Maid is good for several reasons. Also, it has access to a really good fusion, well, 2 really good fusions. It can play a lot of hand traps, a lot of trap cards, and it only needs to play with 2 cards, so I really don't see a reason why this deck wouldn't be in the top 10. Moving on to 9th place, I actually have Emancipator Prank Kids. I think this deck is really terrifying. I don't really know the deck that much myself, but I do know that it actually tries to excavate the Roxy's, the Prank Kid monsters, and then with your Emancipator monsters, obviously, and then you can actually get a lot of special summons just off of one excavate. And also the Quackimeru, I think it's Supplier, the free special summon when a rock monster leaves the field, is really good. It searches you Guardian. You always have those cards to pretty much play through Nibiru. Quackimeru Guardian is the card that a lot of people actually wanted banned because it made the deck way too good through hand traps, but of course with Block Dragon out of the way, Emancipator as an engine is a bit less good, but maybe combined with Prank Kids, it's what actually the deck needed to pretty much propel itself to the top. I think it deserves the number 9 spot. Number 8 spot is actually Drytron. It's pretty much a big fall from grace or from heaven or something because the deck was way better than before, but honestly, Benton to 1 is... it makes the deck way more fragile. It's a pretty big hit, honestly. Even Union Carrier Band is enough to make it not your main issue right now. You don't really have to consider Drytron until they will get Drytron Mu Beta Fafnir, which is the rank 1 monster, by the way. Really good card. So when they will get that card, Drytron will be significantly better, but for now, I think number 8 is all you can get. Number 7 is all the invoked variants. So there is Invoked Dragma, Invoked Shadal, pretty much anything that plays Invoked Mech Knight, maybe? I don't think so, but maybe just Invoked in general. Every single time there's like the beginning of a format, people always want to play Invoke cards. This has shown to be true with the actual LCS having like I think 7 out of like 16 in the top cut playing Invoked cards. So yeah, it's always an engine that's going to pretty much scare everyone as long as Alistair is a 3, Meltdown a 3, Invocation a 3. The deck is just like kind of a full power. I mean, not really the deck, but the engine, and that's the reason why it'll always be in the top 10 no matter what. Number 6 is actually Shadal variant. So this time, I guess we can kind of also include Invoked Shadal, even though that kind of also belonged to Invoke, but in a different way. This time also maybe Shadal Dragma, Shadal Traps, Pure Shadal Combo. There are so many ways to play Shadal, and I really do believe that this deck is extremely good. Winda is so scary. People still can't out the card consistently, and with less people playing Virtual World, people won't have the easy out of just going King Long Negate and then just continue playing as if nothing ever happened. So Winda is back to being terrifying. Even against Eldritch, the card is still pretty good because their punishments kind of just don't do anything. Kind of hard for them to always rely on Eldritch, Scarlet and stuff like that. Against Zodiac, obviously it's really good. They need like a Whiptail like underneath to pretty much attack it. So this card will actually scare everyone, especially with Schism being completely insane. Ariel being able to banish like 3 cards from either player's graveyard. This deck is really terrifying. Number 5 is Virtual World. Now, I actually said that Virtual World was gonna be maybe top 3 best decks. I think I was a bit wrong. Even though the deck is really good, it's not like before where you kind of had like a quote-unquote insta-win because all you had to do was make VFD and the opponent just scooped, because obviously your follow-up would be an OTK follow-up. And it's not really because VFD FTKs the opponent. It's just it skips their turn. Kind of like Zexal skips the opponent's turn so he can kill. But now without that insta-win, you actually have to make real negates, which actually can be broken. Now there there is Dark Ruler, Forbidden Job, Kaijus, and stuff like that. And these cards didn't really work against VFD too much because you had the Chooch to destroy your own VFD in case they were trying to negate with like Imperm and stuff like that. So Handshaps are now much better. Nibiru is much better unless they have the good combo that allows them to play through Nibiru, but obviously with the deck kind of losing a lot of consistency, ironically, in the fact that it needs kind of more in order to push for a similar push in a way, makes the deck definitely less appealing. Number 4 on this list is Lyrilusk Tri-Brigade. You gotta respect the deck, even though it's not my personal pick. I would never play a deck like Lyrilusk Tri-Brigade, like ever. I just don't feel like it's the cleanest strategy, but I definitely understand that it's a great strategy because summoning the Wind Barrier statue is a pain in the butt. It's really annoying to out. Because of this, people actually have to play Gadarla, the Mystery Dust Kaiju, and Gameciel is no longer playable. You cannot play Gameciel in a format like this. It's just too suicidal because obviously you can special summon wind monsters, so Gadarla works, but you can't summon any other kind of attribute. So if you're playing like something like Harpies, well, Merry Christmas, because Lyrilusk Tri-Brigade is going to be a free matchup for you. Of course, against all the other decks, even Eldritch, it's going to be super scary. They also have Salamangreat, Elmirage, Linkuriboh, Wind Barrier, like the Simorgh that keeps special summoning during each end phase. So if you just do nothing, then they keep getting more advantage. And the deck has a huge resource game with the Lyrilusk card, and the Tri-Brigade cards are just really good cards by default. They all have effects to summon gigantic monsters. Ominous Omen, the Link 4 monster, can allow you to banish a card on the field without targeting. So even Dragoon is not safe from that. I hope you realize how ridiculously scary that is, and that's the reason why Lyrilusk Tri-Brigade clearly deserves the number 4 spot. Number 3 spot goes to the most resilient deck in almost the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the new BA, it's the new Brandish, it's the new whatever, it's the best trap deck out there. It's Eldritch with or without the Zodiac cards. This deck is insane. It's just really good. It's always good. That's the thing too. Why is my life X? It's fine. I'm going to deal with it later on. But basically, the Eldritch cards are just really good at refunding themselves every single time. They never really go -1 because during the end phase, you just get whatever resource you use pretty much back, and you're trading it for kind of almost a better card sometimes. It allows you to kind of complete the missing piece of the puzzle. You can play Floodgates, Handshaps, other engines. That's why I said with or without the Zodiac cards. So if you want a one card that can break like freaking multiple negates, you know, Merry Christmas. If your opponent has Crystal Wing Dragoon and you have any Zodiac with Cosmic Cyclone or MST, you can pretty much out everything because, well, Zeus can use its effect 3 times since you can have 6 materials. And of course, since Konami enjoys making really fair card design, Zeus is not once per turn and not once per chain. So as long as you have 2 materials to detach, well, effect. Yes, Zodiac cards are really broken regardless of if you're playing Eldritch or not. Number 2 is a deck that a lot of people might actually consider to be number 1, but I think it's still gonna be number 2 because it also has its own set of flaws, and that is Dragon Link. Now, it's funny because not only did this deck didn't lose anything whatsoever, but it also gained something in the Banlist in the form of Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. Now, a lot of people might be like, no, that is not true. Dragon Buster Destruction Sword doesn't really change anything since Union Carrier got banned in exchange. Well, this is where you're wrong, my friend. There is a monster called DMZ Dragon that allows you to equip back a dragon from your graveyard to a monster you control, and you can kind of see what kind of BS you can do since you can equip Phalanx to keep special summoning, Dragon Buster Destruction Sword to pretty much lock your opponents from the extra deck. So we're pretty much back to square one with Dragon Link, and this deck is pretty much almost as good as it used to be when it was at full power, but it doesn't mean that it's the best deck because the number 1 best deck is probably the deck with the highest amount of good matchups. And you guessed it, the number 1 best deck in the entire format, in my personal opinion, is Dinosaur. This deck is ridiculous, and by the way, have you read Misk by any chance? Have you actually read the card? Unaffected by card effects, like literally everything, all of your dinosaurs, because that's fair, you know, even the dinosaurs that you haven't summoned yet, because obviously, I mean, you know, it's miscellaneous Zorus. And by the way, did you actually know that it has another effect that allows you to summon a level 1 monster from your deck and then destroy a BB, summon Overraptor, search Pale, search another card, and pretty much kill your opponent with 2 cards through Nibiru? That's very fair, right? That's extremely fair. I mean, the deck is... Wait, would anyone ever complain about dinosaurs? Yeah, the deck is really broken against trap decks because Lost World can allow you to pretty much play around anything that targets. As long as your opponent has a token, well, they can't use their punishment, they can't use their compose, they can't use anything. Your miscellaneous Zorus makes you immune to literally everything in the entire world, even Solemn Strike, which is stupid because your monster hits the field and then it uses its effect and it's already unaffected by miscellaneous Zorus, so who cares? This deck is broken, and it can also play multiple Lightning Storms, Duster, everything. Trap decks are not safe against dinosaurs, and combo decks are not save. They can draw 0 hand traps and inherently break your board, and they don't need the extra deck that much. So even the Buster Lock is not that great. Appaloosa is also not that great because they can use multiple effects in one chain link. They can go over after effect, you're gonna go Appaloosa negate and you chain Miscellaneousaurus. Your Appaloosa can have 20 billion negates, and the Appaloosa is once per chain, so you cannot actually beat the dinosaurs that way. Yeah, so dinosaurs is definitely the best deck. Well, what I personally know, I think I'm definitely in the right, but I mean, I could actually be in the wrong. So if you guys have any other kind of opinion or whatever, any other perspective, if you think that the top 10 should be different, definitely let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys have any other comments or feedback, whatever, also let me know. And that's pretty much all I had to say for this video, so thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these, and I'll see you next time. Peace!